AJ, thanks for joining us today. I guess, how's the transition going in terms of learning a defense via Zoom meetings? And what is the key to being a defense that can get a bunch of takeaways, like not unlike that 17 Jags defense that you guys got all over the AFC Championship? So how are the Zoom meetings going? And what is the key in your mind becoming a defense that gets a lot of takeaways?
Zoom meetings are growing great, really. When the guys are in special teams, it's being me, Coach Ed, Nadi, Chris B, Kareem, and Bryce Callahan. So that's a good time for me to really know those guys. I already know Kareem coming from Houston, but I talked to Bryce a little bit, just really getting things going on that. We watch our separate little film, and then me and Coach Ed go in and watch some of my stuff from Jacksonville. When it comes to learning the playbook, the most challenging part for me really is going to be, just the terminology, certain calls and coverages, and even terminology that they use in this defense was another meaning in the other defense I was in. That's the first part. So just extra studying on my end. And then to get the turnovers, really, that's just going to come down to first developing the team chemistry, knowing my job, knowing the other guys' jobs, and just vice versa, just learning everything like that, and then just presenting itself with the opportunity and capitalizing on it.
Next, we've got Ryan O'Halloran with the Denver Post, followed by Michael Spencer. Ryan, go ahead, please.
Hey, AJ, sort of a follow-up on the defense. You've been in this league a long time. How open is Ed Donatel to listening to you about what techniques and what fundamentals work for you?
Great. He's been studying my game. He said he's been watching me since in Houston. So really, he's just getting to know me and vice versa, and just seeing how I like to play things and what I see coming through my mind on certain plays. And even then, he's been texting me, sending me clips of, press technique on how to play certain things and just seeing what's going to fit me well. And it's still early, unfortunately, we can't see each other in person really, but the communication has been great, and he's somebody I could reach out to. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. But he's helped out so much, not only him, but the other coaches. And really, I'm just excited to get to work with those guys, man, because, in the meeting room, we're really, dissecting a lot of things.
Next, we've got Michael Spencer, followed by Mike Kliss. Michael, go ahead.
Hey, AJ, the cornerback room is kind of under a microscope from the outside perspective. What have you learned about those guys in that room with you? And I know it's been difficult through a virtual standpoint, but what have you taken away from your meetings with those guys?
Those guys, they know the scheme very well. One thing I do, I've been watching extra film, like especially during the installs that we have. I've been watching film from last year's clips, just learning the calls, how they've been running. And a lot of guys been jumping out on me on film. I like the way they play. I like their games. Might have not had a lot of production on the ball, but you could just see the technique and the athleticism from a lot of those guys, and they all bring different things to the game. Isaac's a young guy. I like what I see out of him. Devontae Harris, very physical guy. Even Bosby has good length. They have a lot of guys, man. I just want to come in and help with the chemistry and just, just like they're going to make me better, I want to be able to make them better.
Next, we've got Mike Kliss, 9 News, followed by Nikki Javala. Mike, go ahead, please.
Yes, AJ, just wondering what your thoughts are with the virus pandemic. Are you as confused as everyone else, whether the restrictions are lifting? Some states seem to be tightening. And what is your opinion as far as coming back to play with all this going on?
Yeah, it's pretty tough, man. I think Kareem said it best. He just wants to get back and get with the guys. He missed the guys there. And that's how I was looking forward to getting to know a lot of the players, not only on my position, but just the whole team. And right now, the main importance is just the safety of everybody. We all have family members that we don't want to put in risk, especially older family members. So that's the first thing. And, right now, all we could do is just focus on what we can. I'm looking at this as an opportunity just to keep working on myself, making sure my family's good, just keep studying the playbook. And right now, this has helped me just to figure out a routine just going into the season. Things are tough, but I'm just seeing what works for me right now, even with all the tough things going on.
Next, we've got Nikki Javala with The Athletic, followed by James Palmer. Nikki, go ahead, please.
AJ, how much did you know about Michael Ojemudia before the Broncos drafted him? And if he's asked to take on a significant role, maybe even start, in your mind, what sort of challenges do you think he'll face just, from your own experience early in your career?
I really didn't know much about him. One of the coaches sent me his numbers, and I reached out to him, texted him, and just congratulated him. And I was trying to see where he was at the time. I was hoping he was near. I was going to try to get some work in with him. But just in the meeting rooms, you can see already he's a very intelligent guy, smart guy, very confident guy. We have a lot of corners. It's going to be competition, but no matter who's out there, they're going to be ready. And Michael, I'll help, teach him things. If you have any questions, I'll be picking his brain apart too, because we can always learn from each other, no matter first year or even me going into year 8. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Next, we've got James Palmer, NFL Network, followed by Eric DeLalla. James, go ahead.
Hey, what's up, AJ? Hope you're doing well, man. Going back to 2017 when you had a really, really strong season, I remember your guys' defense, I think, was one off the lead in sacks with 55, I think it was. Can you just kind of talk about what a defensive front does for you guys in the secondary? If you look at what, if you have a healthy Vaughn and a healthy Bradley Chubb up front, what that does for you. And then also with Kareem playing safety next to you, what kind of that safety duo can do for a corner, kind of up front and then the safeties between you.
I always believe, especially early playing, even in high school, I had a good D-line, and I always believe that you're only as good as your D-line and vice versa. That definitely showed in Jacksonville. You seen the sacks we were getting, the turnovers that we were creating. And just to be able to bring that presence over here in Denver, I'm gonna do my job. Everybody back there is gonna do their job, but we're gonna have some dogs up there getting after the quarterback, and now we just have to capitalize on these opportunities because they're gonna give us some.
Next, we've got Eric DeLalla with DenverBroncos.com, followed by Andrew Mason. Eric, go ahead, please.
Yeah, AJ, what did you learn about yourself, or maybe how did you take steps in your game when Ramsey was gone and it kind of fell on you to be that number one guy solely?
I think at that time I was just really focused on doing everything I can to keep the guys together, especially the younger guys. We had a corner who was his first year basically starting Trey Herndon, and he came in and did a great job, and I was pretty much the vet out of the back end of the group. And so I started to become more of like a coach. My knowledge for the game is great. I studied the game a lot, concepts, everything like that. So I learned a lot from that. I already knew when I came out of Houston, I already felt I was supposed to follow anyways. Jayla will tell you about that too. We were that type where we're just confident. We had that dog in us, and we always wanted to be, have that responsibility of following the top guy. And, when Jalen left, that was my opportunity, and I made a lot of plays with that. And, it just kept building the confidence from that. And that's the road I'm ready to take on here in Denver.
Next, we've got Andrew Mason, DNVR, followed by Mike Kliss. Andrew, go ahead, please.
AJ, you said earlier that a key to turnovers was developing team chemistry. So how much of that would come from the OTAs that you're missing, and what can you guys do to try to make up for that lost work?
It definitely comes a lot from OTAs, just the physical reps and walkthroughs, 7-on-7 team, just getting the timing down on the field with certain routes, just seeing how certain guys are going to trigger on certain routes to know where I'm going to be at. But, we get quizzed every day. The coaches do a good job of just testing us, making sure we're knowing not only our responsibility, but the responsibilities of other positions, whether the corner on the other side, knowing the front, knowing what our safeties are doing, certain calls, what it's going to get us in, and what routes to expect and what routes are going to beat us. So, one of the first things I do in the morning when I wake up, I just go over the past few installs just to always constantly keep programming it in my mind, putting myself in those situations, and even watching film from last year and seeing how certain guys played it. When you had a corner like Chris, who was here, one of the smart guys, you watch him and see how he plays certain things, and I'm like, okay, this is what's going to help with this call. This is what he's seeing. So that's what it is right now. A lot of us are doing extra work outside of the meetings just to make sure that we're in tune, so that whenever we report back, we're just clicking like that.
Next, we've got Mike Kliss, followed by Troy Rank. Mike, go ahead, please.
Yeah, AJ, as far as you can tell with the Fangio defense from film work or your virtual meetings, does he play more zone than you're used to, more man-to-man, and which do you prefer?
Right now, it seems like it's a little bit of both. The thing that I like about it is just it gives everybody – you just really start to see how the defense works. It gives everybody opportunity to make plays. I feel like in Jacksonville it was more of this is where your help is, but it wasn't there, so you had to play more routes. And the more you watch this scheme right here, it gives you comfort because you know where you could be aggressive on more routes to make plays. And like I said, they mix it up a lot. There's certain times corners going to play zone, have the easy down, but then third down, certain got to have it situations like we're just going to have to bow up and play man, and that's what I'm also used to too. And so really I like to play man. I like to press. But at the same time, I'm good with route concepts. I like to jump certain routes and know where my help is too.
Guys, we've got time for a few more. We'll go with Troy, followed by Nikki, and then end with Brandon. Troy, go ahead, please.
Yeah, AJ, when you do end up with a new team and you have played as well as you did in Jacksonville, is there part of you that you see have that dog in you that has a little bit of chip on your shoulder and wants to show people that nothing changed? I'm still the guy I was in 17?
Oh, most definitely. I've been dealing with that my whole life, especially going into college. I've just and even leaving Houston, I was told I was a one-year wonder. After whatever happened in Houston, I ended up becoming an all-pro. They always said it was a scheme. It's just always, in my mind, I'm having to prove somebody wrong. And I embrace that. I love it. That's what helps me get up early in the morning, even going into year 8, acting like I'm coming into the league and just grinding. It's what motivates me, on the inside. So I believe, with that chip on the shoulder, that's why I'm still here. And I'm definitely out to prove a lot of people wrong.
Nikki, jump in, please.
AJ, along the same lines, being an undrafted player to make it where you are, I know it's only been the first week that you guys have had meetings with rookies, but have you had a chance to talk with Easton Bassey and Douglas Coleman at all about, what it takes to get on the roster and kind of make it from there?
Isan, he's from Columbus. He's actually in Georgia. I'm going to actually try to hit him up to see if he want to come get some work in with me. I don't really know much about him. Before I even found out before the coaches gave me Douglas' number, my dad actually called me and told me that he knows somebody who's close to him and gave me the number to reach out to him and stay close to him. So I've always had that mindset. That's one thing I really like about, OTAs and camps. Usually the drafted guys, they're still learning. They're trying to fit in with everything like that. But I always want to work with the undrafted guys, whether it's extra, because those guys are definitely sponges. They're always want to learn anything because they're open to playing special teams, open to everything. And I just feel like I can relate more to those guys because they're always learning. And when I was coming in, I always wanted to learn from veterans. You had Kareem Jackson, you had Jonathan Joseph, and just those guys helping me out. I want to be able to do the same thing now.
Last one, Brandon Cristal, KOA.
Smart player he is, and whether you like it or not, you're going to get compared to Chris in terms of production while you're here. So do you kind of welcome that pressure? Is there anything that you even think about? Have you thought about it yet?
No, I don't look at it as pressure. Me and Chris have a great relationship. That's a guy that took me in when I first came into the league. That's, when we had the same agent. I'm close with his family. They're great people. And honestly, when I was studying Chris a lot, especially early in the league, I always watch him on the inside. I don't really play on the inside. And then this was the first time I really got to saw him play on the outside. And I liked everything that I saw. So that's why, like I said earlier, I know how Chris thinks. I know what he sees in the study, like what he studies on the film. So certain ways he plays routes, I know why he plays that. So that's what I'm really watching. I don't really listen to the outside noise and comparisons because at the end of the day, it's a new year. It's a new football year. I have to focus on what I have to do to be best. I can't focus on trying to live up to somebody else who's not even here anymore.
AJ, appreciate you taking the time. Thanks and stay safe, my friend.
Thank you, guys. Take care.